Welcome, one and all. This is Elliot from the Basic Nerd Experience. I'm your host, Elliot. It's the host with the most, who looks like a ghost. Hey, all right, so we back out of here. Thank you for joining the second episode of the Star Wars installment saga, and now we're going to continue the third episode with the end of the prequel trilogy of Revenge of the Sith. I'm going to introduce everybody here. To start off with, we have Chill Mr. 305.
You already know what it is.
I don't know what it is, but we will continue. You know who I is.
Hi, I'm Gaby. What's up?
Or Giggles.
Also known as Giggles or Nugget. Whatever.
Giggles last time, yeah.
Giggles.
Whatever you're in the mood for.
Well,
yeah.
We'll come back to you. Then we have my man, Jonny Boi.
That's right, everybody. How you doing?
Hey. Then next we have Brandino.
How's it
No,
going?
it's Brandonian. Say it right, please.
Brandonian. Oh,
And then,
me.
over here.
Wait, you interrupted me by
I'm
correcting it, and then you interrupted me again by continuing the conversation.
But now I'm going to
So now
interrupt
next-
you
Sorry.
we can keep the flow going.
Go back.
Go with the flow. All right.
This is Brandon.
Can I introduce Rose?
This is
No. It's Amila Rosa. But you can call me Rose for
Rose's
short.
about to come out in a few hours.
And this is my parasite. This is Jose.
What up, bitch?
Parasite is named Jose.
Don't fucking laugh at me, bitch.
I'm laughing with you.
All right, I accept that.
All right. So,
Do you have private parts? I mean, I'm
Listen.
Don't
That's not
worry
good.
about it. We're gonna quote
It's
Brand.
a jungle
Don't worry
down
about
there.
it.
You know, it kind of makes me uncomfortable talking about that. I was like,
all right. Okay. We're gonna go past that, and we're gonna actually talk about Star Wars now. And we're gonna. I have Panthers. No, I'm sorry. So we were gonna continue off with this review session with the last installment of the prequel trilogy, which, in my opinion, I think everyone can say here is the best prequel movie. Okay, we'll get that in a second. So we're gonna kind of start off with the positives here, and then we're gonna go on the negatives and then review it. So everybody here, does anyone want to start off with the positives, maybe?
I think
Amy has her book out. So
I think one great positive was after two movies that dealt with a lot of like plot problems,
The
they
climax
finally
of the
got
story.
it great in this one of a like beginning, middle, and end a good climax. They finally got a plot like established. That was what they're really good at.
Yeah, I gotta give props to this last one because it seems like the writers and George Lucas both like came together for a consensus and okay, let's make a badass Star Wars movie, but it's half for the fans and half original because I can't really say that this is a Star Wars story that I'm used to. When I saw it back in 2005,
Damn.
yeah,
How long ago?
2000 freaking 5.
Wow.
When I first saw it there, it felt something somewhat different from a Star Wars movie that I'm used to. But at the same time, you see the galactic battles that, as Jose says, who's not here at the moment.
We
Jose
just have a
said that-
hand.
Yeah, we just have the hand.
The Parasite.
Jose said that the space battles look much better as the prequels went on, and that is very true.
Bitch, you don't even know, dude.
I mean,
Those space battles are so much better in this movie.
Just the first 23 minutes alone is the whole scene of like them just cruising,
Yes.
silent, just cruising, whole 360, and then bam, whole entire war.
It's really great because this is kind of
Oh,
the first time since like Return of the Jedi where we have Phantom Menace, but the Phantom Menace sequence at the end with the whole ships with the Naboo ships I don't think was
Yeah,
really
get your shit
as
together,
effective.
Elliot.
I was talking and you interrupted me. So what I was saying was that I feel like Revenge of the Sith was really great in utilizing that. Okay, we have the two Jedi Masters. We have Anakin and Thick Boy sliding through the galaxy, and then we have all the clone troopers behind us. It's really great just to see the communication. Like, this is war. We are in it. It's in my opinion, it's the second best opening in the Star Wars saga because it's boom, right in the action, getting right in
You
there.
start right in
And
the
then
middle
they
of the action.
automatically
That's the
introduce
big
Grievous.
space
Like
battle.
automatically, he's just
Fine.
introduced.
Yeah, like the entrance for Grievous coming in, you could see that this guy is menacing.
Yeah.
He's like,
And him, notice how
And coughing all the time.
Yeah, and then but the first first couple of lines that come out of his mouth, to me, I can't help but laugh a little bit. He's like, "What's the situation, Captain?" I'm just like, is he gonna talk like that for the rest of the movie?
Yes.
Two giant are in the hangar bay. We're tracking them.
And, like, I got used to it. I got used to it as the movie progressed.
I get used to it.
But that initial shock of, oh my god, this guy sounds like he has a raspberry stuck inside his esophagus, man. Like, seriously, clear your freaking
Like,
throat.
who's seen a robot cough? You know?
Yeah, right.
Well, because he's a
Because he's built.
He's a cyborg.
built.
He's a cyborg.
Yeah,
so he
he's
has
built.
that.
He still has his organs.
Yeah,
His
he
organs.
has-
So that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
in the old Clone Wars animated,
The 2D
the
cartoon.
2D cartoon, we see Mace Windu choking General Grievous,
Crushing
That's
his
how
chest plate.
Yes.
crushing his chest plate, and that's why he gets his cough. I think it's really cool. It's also kind of like a foreshadowing Vader.
Exactly, because it's
Oh,
showing
yeah.
that
I would
a
say.
Sith using someone and rebuilding them. Yeah,
Exactly.
like that.
And I definitely feel that. I feel like the whole the opening sequence of Revenge of the Sith is just so great because one thing I've noticed was that when I watched it this morning, shocker right now, but when we started watching it, I kept tabs on Anakin's progression into his hatred. And one of the things I noticed that he kind of was like, it was just whatever, a concern of his was when the clone troopers were behind him and they're like, oh, they're all over me, they're going to shoot everywhere. And then Anakin's like, okay, I got to go help him out. And the Thick Boy is like, Anakin, like, no, we have a job to do. We have to continue. And then Anakin's like, all right. And then the clone troopers got shot.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, Anakin's like, okay, so had I helped them out, then they would have been alive. The other one was, remember the buzz droids?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, buzz droids.
That was funny. R2D2. That was funny. When the buzz droids came in, like, no, they're all over me. Get to the Chancellor. Just get
Get to the
out of here.
chopper.
And I was like, dude, I'm not gonna leave you. You're my master. Like, it's just, I don't know, just like little moments like that are really cool. Just to see how Anakin's like,
He can be loyal.
he's
At the same-
loyal.
He's very
But
incredible.
at the same time, he has his
Like,
negatives.
he's headstrong to a fault. Seriously.
Very
Um,
headstrong.
I have to retract. I said something in the last video that I think even if like whoever trained Anakin, he would have always turned evil. But I agree with you. What I thought about with you last time is that I think he wouldn't have turned evil if it wasn't for him losing his the other master.
Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon,
Qui-Gon, yeah.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon, I believe, would have guided
Yeah.
both Obi-Wan and Anakin towards a path of more tranquility, at least, because at least
And it made Anakin more
Yeah.
peaceful.
at least Qui-Gon had the sense of suspicion that the Jedi were getting very arrogant when it came to like progression of the Clone Wars coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because after reviewing this movie, I realized that Anakin was just a puppet in the Emperor's plan.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he never was really that evil. It was just he turned him against the Jedi.
He was slowly
filtering his brain.
fil-
Because all that Anakin wanted in life was to please Obi-Wan,
and
to
Yeah.
follow
And
the
protect
Jedi
Padme.
code, and to save his wife. That's all he wanted. And then
Yeah.
he would do anything to get those things. And then Palpatine showed him okay.
showed him, turned him
Yeah.
against him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny how in I don't know, again, for me, it's like the opening sequence is so amazing. I just from when they're in the starship and then to when they're crashing onto back to Coruscant. I love every single scene, and there's so much funny stuff that a lot of people don't catch. One thing I love was when Anakin again, it's saying with the progression of Anakin becoming Darth Vader. Another thing I've noticed was that when let me get this in a second.
Uncivilized.
Sorry?
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized. No, that was Grievous. Wait.
That was Kenobi.
No,
That was Kenobi.
Grievous.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a funny
Oh,
thing.
I'm
So
sorry.
uncivilized.
I'm being a too technical Star Wars fan. Admitted 54. No. But one thing I noticed was that when Count Dooku came in, and Palpatine's the Thick Boy and Anakin, he goes, "Get help! You're no match for a Sith Lord."
It's
And then
Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are special.
the fact he said this to a Sith Lord, the master of the Sith, and he doesn't know this, that just hit me today.
Yeah. And one thing,
Looking at John
but that's another thing I want to bring into focus. That fight between Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
If you go deep into analyzing every single movement of that fight, right? You can see that Dooku is actually, as opposed to in the last movie, he's now in a defensive stance, right?
Yep.
And, how about this one? Obi-Wan's like, "You won't get away this time, Dooku." Obi-Wan goes into Form 3. Anakin goes into form 4, right? Like these aren't the regular forms. They want to trick him. That's that little subtle detail. You know, it's not that usual Kenobi thick boy Kenobi stance. You know?
Exactly.
He usually goes like this,
Right.
but he's going like this, the Qui-Gon stance, right? And then they try to confuse Dooku. You know, Dooku's like, looking forward to this. You know, but if you then Anakin starts to taunt. It's just like my powers have doubled since the last time we met Count.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah. So and then
I know my has been thick, Dooku.
and then you see Palpatine going like this, you know.
Yeah.
You could, and then Obi-Wan's force wall breaks. Dooku forced him out of the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that Palpatine has something to do. Why else would the camera just pan into him, like zoom in just slightly, and Palpatine's like, you know,
Analyzer.
yeah, analyzing maybe, or breaking his force wall, perhaps. It's a theory.
It is a theory.
And it's also with, they say like Count Dooku, like, because I sense fear in you, like you have hate and your anger, you don't use them. He does use it when he kills Anakin, and Palpatine does tempt. Again, this is the progression of him getting to Vader with his anger. He says the classic line like, "Kill him now." He's like, "I shouldn't," and then Palpatine with the "Do it," and he's like, "Shit!" And he just does it, and that silence with the lightsabers.
Yeah, that sounds like something out of a horror movie.
The most important thing in that scene was when he says he doesn't deserve, he's too dangerous to be alive.
Yes.
And then Anakin replies, but that's not the Jedi way.
Right.
That's a very, very important line that will be so important later, but you'll
It'll
never
foreshadow.
even know.
It's a subtle thing that
later,
foreshadows.
When he says the same exact line, he's too dangerous to live, and that's when Anakin finally turns bad, because he's like, wait, if the Sith is saying this and the Jedi is saying this, to him, he's learning that like both sides are like just wanting power, and to retain power is just different point of views. So they're both corrupted ideologies.
Yeah.
So which one are you going to choose?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the one that's going to save your wife. And that was his turning point. And then even when he like killed him, he was just like, I'll do whatever you want. Just let me save my wife.
Yeah.
Which is me. He wasn't actually truly evil. He was just desperately in love, and like a lost soul who's just like, I don't want to lose my wife. That was one of the most important lines
Yeah,
to me
it
in
really
the whole
is.
movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what I wrote my paper on, the parallelism of like those two shots.
It's like poetry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, Chadwick looks like he's gonna say something.
Yeah.
So,
And an important thing to remember when it comes to the dark side is that it's all emotions is what can make you turn to the darkness. Because we notice that his deep passion and love for Padme, his wife, or future to be wife anyway.
it is his wife.
Yeah, this movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is.
Yeah, they were
that's right.
married.
He
Yeah,
is
'cause
his-
they get
yeah,
married
that's
at-
right. They get married in
His
the
the future mother.
the future mother of
Yeah.
his children and everything like that. And we see how his desperation and love for Padme pretty much leads him down this dark path to the point where he becomes everything he swore against.
Mm-hmm.
And he even goes to the Jedi Temple and does unspeakable acts.
With that being said, Yoda said fear of loss is the path to the dark side.
That's something that
That
I
was
wanna
clever.
get into. It is clever, but it is a little bit misguided, and it's something that I think goes against original trilogy Yoda, and I'll explain why. That scene where Anakin and Yoda are talking, right? Is Yoda's like, someone you speak of, or someone you know? And he's like, someone. It's someone. It's not me. It's someone else, you know. And then he's like, careful you must be when searching the future, Anakin. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side, you know. And here's and like Amy said, when it's all emotion like that, right? Here, like if you were to put that essence of why the Jedi failed into like a boiler, that is the main crux of why they failed. Yoda pretty much boiled it down to just one fatal flaw of the Jedi, is that they overlook where emotion can actually come in.
Yep.
They don't consider that. That's their flaw.
That's a fatal
And-
flaw with the Jedi way.
And to me, it's almost kind of like symbolizing like in like religion. It's like they kind of think of themselves as the high priest, the good people. Like, oh, the Jedi code, we're perfect. We don't do no evil. We don't do nothing. We're only good. And that's their flaw, because they don't acknowledge the evil side. So when there's a young man like Anakin who's young
And
and
struggling.
stressful and dealing with these things, he doesn't know how to deal with it because no one ever taught him. No
Yeah.
one ever because one of the things that Yoda told him was whatever you're afraid to, whatever your fear to lose, let go of it.
Yeah.
It was something like that,
That's true.
and basically it was just like suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Anakin didn't like that answer because
Yeah.
obviously he's not going to accept that. So it's like the Jedi kind of failed him in a way too. And then asking him to spy on Palpatine, and that's like, oh, that's treason. That's not the Jedi way. And it's like, he's learning, like, I can't trust the Jedi. Like, how come they're not doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And that's what made him, which is in psychology, which is the false consensus theory, that if everyone else is you assume that everyone else does what you think. So Anakin is trying so hard to do the Jedi code, he just assumes everyone else is doing the same thing. But when he realizes that they're not doing the right thing, that creates cognitive dissonance in his brain and makes him feel uncomfortable,
And
which
conflict.
it's either you deal with it and suppress it or you exercise it. And he decides to exercise it, and it was like, I'm just going to go with the fast side.
Yeah. With that being said, do you guys feel that's actually a really good observation? Wow,
She
I
pretty much
never-
nailed it on the head.
I never
Yeah,
thought
she-
about
Well,
that.
that's age.
She
Well,
nailed
got it.
For Star Wars. So do you guys feel like the Jedi have failed Anakin?
So, with that being said, I do feel that the Jedi Council not only failed Anakin, but they failed essentially their entire philosophy. Because what happened was, like, at first, as we can see with the Jedi, we start seeing that they developed these beliefs of you will not show love, you will not show emotion, you will not show compassion. Pretty much limiting what it means to be human is trapping people and trying to make them into this humanoid thing that only cares about peace. Doing that I can see where, in theory, that it would seem good to the Jedi to be only strictly peacekeepers, but you also have to remember these are people with their own different personalities, individualities, and things that make them
Yeah.
who they are. Trying to limit that is a dangerous thing, and that in itself is actually a path to the dark side, having to repress who you truly are.
The irony
That is
in that.
Because at the end of the day, when you're repressing all those emotions and you're just keeping them inside, it's not good for you. You're gonna feel emotions that you can't control, like lust, love, and this movie in particular, Anakin shows a lot of love, but also shows obsession, and
Obsession how?
because he's obsessed with trying to make sure that Padme doesn't die.
You can make an argument about that. Yes, I agree.
It's an obsession because he's like, okay, I know she's gonna eventually die, but I don't want her to die right now because she has my child.
But
And also
I don't know
he-
if that's obsession. I think we have an obsession with death, but it's not like it's not like I love my lady. Like it's not like him looking. I don't know. Like I feel like Anakin has matured a lot more being married now, and I feel that he's just really concerned that he's gonna fuck it because he has flashbacks dreaming of because
He has visions.
Attack of the Clones, he had visions of his mother dying, and then his mother died. So then now he has visions of after he got the news that he's gonna be a baby daddy.
Yeah.
He realized that, and then he gets these dreams, and he's like, I don't want this to happen again. He's more fixated on than obsessed.
If you're making the argument that these dreams throughout the progression of the movie leads to obsession, then yes.
Yes.
But straight up, no. I don't think.
No,
I think that I agree with you that it is a little bit obsession because he has PTSD because he's a young like teenager. He lost his mom and went through that dramatic loss, so he's like traumatized. Like
He's worried about losing
He doesn't
Padme.
want to go through that again. So to me, I feel like he has like the PTSD. He's traumatized, so he is like obsessing over it. Because like when he made the choice to kill Windu, he was just like, "I'll do anything you want, just like let me save her."
Yeah.
Like he was like
Anakin
all
didn't
out.
Kill Windu.
He did not.
Palpatine did.
No,
Palpatine.
no. Palpatine
Well,
did.
He cut off his hand.
Alive.
That's the whole.
That's
no,
a-
he's not.
That's a whole
He's
theory.
not.
Well,
Who are you?
well,
Who are you?
Well, I could say that he disarmed him. Well, I could say that he disarmed him.
Yeah.
And went against the Jedi code, to join the dark side. So that, that because his obsession was that I'm going to do evil just so that I could save her.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even killing the younglings, and like all that kind of stuff.
That's a betrayal more than anything
Because
because
it's Anakin's
Yeah, but
betrayal.
he was told by
The Jedi
Darth
betrayed.
Sidious I'm
Yes.
pretty sure
Yes.
that to be able to have
No.
enough power to
Yeah.
save her, you have to do evil. So that's why he did all those things.
He
Not be-
manipulated him.
he wasn't never truly an evil person.
He
He
wasn't.
didn't want to hurt
He was
those people.
manipulated
He
into
was just
thinking
told that if you do that, it will like
Palpatine
to
just
her, you saving
manipulated
her.
him.
If you've seen Dracula Untold, then you can see the parallels coming in. Because Anakin is
I know.
a victim of his own circumstances. He's just a pawn, and it's. I don't want to say he's faultless because he does. He
has a lot of
choice.
faults.
Control, but at the end of the day, he's just a pawn to whatever his goal is. He becomes something that he becomes a slave to. That's where Obi-Wan comes in with Mustafar, saying you become the very thing you swore to destroy. At this point, he's not talking to his former apprentice. He's talking to someone who's lost his mind.
Mhm.
The one he knew and called the brother is gone.
That bro is gone. That's true.
Yeah.
Thick boy lost a bro.
Big point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta think of a name for Anakin. Like we gotta think of
Anakin, stop panicking.
No, it's not as memeable as Big Boy Kenobi.
Christian Hayden.
Christian Hayden. That's what John did call him.
Yeah,
He called
Christian
him
Hayden's.
Christian Hayden's.
There you go.
I heard that.
I was cracking
That
up.
was so funny when you said that. But with Christian, okay, I like that. Thick Boy and Christian Hayden. All right, cool. I like that. So
Hayden Christensen, right? That's his actual
that's his real name, Hayden Christensen.
But I
Yeah.
called him Christian Hayden.
Poor dude. He can. No one can get his name right.
I can.
No,
Brandon, what did
Say-
you
say it
what did
three
Brandon
times.
I
say?
said I can.
say it 3 times.
Hayden Christensen.
Three times.
Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen.
You're you.
Hayden Christensen.
You know what? Just say that in front of a mirror 3 times. And see your luck.
Oh God, no, please.
Hayden Christensen.
And then, sorry, my lady. Just happens to come.
Sorry,
in
my lady.
back.
But yeah, but one thing I do want to steer is like Amy said a good point about the dark side. A very critical moment of the Revenge of the Smith is the opera scene.
Oh my god! In my opinion,
That
one of the
scene
best
was the
scenes.
best.
I was
One of
gonna
the
lead
best
into
scenes in Star
that.
Wars.
I have to
Period.
agree with you. I have to agree with you.
You're talking about the bubble show?
The bubble show.
The bubble
The
show.
bubble show.
Oh, yeah.
Double
That was so
I think
weird.
it's called opera, but it's just it's like yeah, it's bubbles. Yeah. Bubbles from Fighting. But yeah, that's such a critical scene because it not only builds up to the aggravation that at this point Anakin's been told, no, you're not a member of the council. We don't rank you master, but we still. It's interesting how he's not ranked a master, but he's still in the Jedi Council.
In a way.
He was denied the promotion, so he went out and got a better job. Basically, that's what
Pretty
happened.
I was just about. I was
Basically,
thinking
that's
that.
what
Yeah.
he's like,
I was
you're gonna
thinking
pass
that.
me up on my promotion, I'm gonna become a Sith.
You got the benefits and the health insurance.
Yeah.
He got a new suit and everything.
The
Yeah.
401k,
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah.
It also comes with the problem,
It comes with the problem.
aka the burn.
But
Yeah.
with Anakin, like he's been told like no by the Jedi so many times. Like
He's been rejected a lot.
with so many times. So when he sees Palpatine, he probably kind of sees him as like
A father figure.
yeah. He was like because he's more like I don't know, like a grandfather. Like I don't know, Obi-Wan. I don't know.
Like a
Is-
brother.
Yeah.
It's more like a brother.
It's like an older brother / like father. It's weird. Like it's just when he's like Attack of the Clones is more of like a father, but more Revenge of the Sith, they're more like equals.
More like equals, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's interesting how
Like a
it's
brother in arms.
Thank you. With Palpatine, yeah, I just feel like he's more of like I want you to be now my representative for this. I want you to do all this stuff. He's giving like so much opportunities. Like I want you to do all this stuff, and the Jedi is like, no, we do not rank you the council member, but you can sneak up on him and spy on him, which is like he goes, that's like not against the Jedi. He goes, oh, this is.
You mean that is against the Jedi?
It's against the
yeah,
Jedi. I mean, what
that
the
is
Jedi
not
are
the
doing
Jedi
this. I understand sometimes you have to get your hands bloody, but the Jedi.
The Jedi, by the time of
Definitely
episode
failed.
3,
Did you notice?
they failed in their own
Have
philosophy.
you noticed that during that scene where Obi-Wan and Anakin are debating about this, that Obi-Wan has a little bit of hesitation when telling him this? It's just like
Yeah.
Anakin's like, "You're asking me to do something against the Jedi code. That's what's at stake here. You know, why are you asking this of me?" And Obi-Wan's like, "The council is asking you." Like he understands the moral ambiguity of this whole situation.
He knows it's not. He has that feeling that it's not right.
Right. And although Obi-Wan is part of the council, it seems like he does disagree because he knows how much the Emperor, the Chancellor, means to Anakin, you know?
Which was not a good.
ever since he
First of all, that
little.
was not a good idea.
No, not at all, you know?
Which is something I think Palpatine said, those who have power are afraid to lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
the yeah.
Anakin's like the Sith. They only care about themselves, and then Palpatine does this evil like mwahaha like head turn like, and the Jedi don't.
Mhm.
You know, that's a good point.
That was a foreshadowing right there.
Yeah, but one thing I do want to talk about is this is definitely like a character study of Anakin.
Yeah.
I really
This
I never-
movie was a character
never-
study.
I never because when we first saw it, because I was like 5 or 6 when I first saw this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hated talking scenes. So I would just skip to the action scenes.
Walking
Then I go,
in.
this
I mean,
is what I want to see. Now, as I'm getting to be an adult, but getting that later
You're 13.
of 13 and a half.
Oh,
I
thought you were 12.
12-year-old
12-year-old Gingy.
Wait, isn't that from Shrek too?
That is,
Yeah.
Gingy.
From the
So
Shrek
you
verse.
are Gingy. Makes
That's
sense.
racist. Gingerbread man. That is. How dare we, America? No.
Gingy.
We've done worse.
She's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane.
Okay.
Okay, but back to Elliot.
Seen her with the Muffin Man?
Who are you?
Are you the parasite?
I am.
Oh,
The parasite is back.
The parasite turned into the disembodied voice.
you need some clothes.
You need
Yes.
What
some
size belt do you
food.
use? Is it?
36.
Damn, you're thick.
Millimeters. Before you. Okay. But one thing I do like is the great thing I love about this. I'm talking too much. I'm so sorry, but I love about this film is that it's a Star Wars film, but it's different. It's like there's so much. It's like the movie is like 2 different movies. It's like
In
part 1, part 2. Like the first part, like in my opinion, is like from it's kind of like from the beginning sequence from Coruscant to probably when I probably want to say when
Obi-Wan
Anakin
goes
becomes
to-
Vader.
Obi-Wan.
Probably because then that just radically that'll probably be like if it was like a part 1, part 2. It definitely would end like we shall call you Lord Vader, da, 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 and then like it would continue like boom Order 66 like part 2. It would have been really cool. But
If Disney were to do that, like
Oh,
modern
God.
day,
Mhm.
it would
God.
have been crap. But I would have understood.
He's not wrong.
Why do you like
He-
this?
you're
Why
not.
you gotta throw some shade?
I'm sorry.
Ahem.
It's just,
I love
This is
the
doing the
irony
best.
in that concept because in this movie, Darth Vader now is the grand villain, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's killing everybody," but the true villain of the whole entire thing is the Emperor because all he's using is his words to manipulate everyone. The Jedi,
Yeah.
Anakin,
That's how cunning he was.
He's the true villain, even though it's like, oh, but Vader's just the puppet. That's it.
yeah.
He's a true manipulator
I-
and very
and-
cunning.
I love the different stages of manipulation that Palpatine goes through. He goes from instigation to subtle manipulation, and then when the opera scene comes in, this is the focal point.
Like
Where
I
he-
latched onto him.
Yeah, that's where, and it's something that I don't think I've ever seen in a Star Wars movie up to that point before. It's where you're sharing a bit of folklore through a story, you know. And I think to a point, Ben Kenobi did that in the 4th one. I know he did.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Palpatine actually went through the Sith history of Darth
He
Plagueis the Wise.
He studied.
Mhm.
He studied under Darth Plagueis.
He was the apprentice.
He was the
Yeah.
apprentice who killed him in his sleep.
Yeah.
You know. But you know,
Yeah, it's,
that scene was pretty tense.
When Palpatine was speaking with Anakin during the opera scene, and he said, "You ever heard the stories of Plagueis the Wise?" I'm like,
yeah,
we're getting into that territory.
yeah, we are. You know, and you know, ironic.
No.
He could save others from death, but not himself. You know, I'm just like, you killed him, didn't you? Yeah.
and that's definitely what brings Anakin to the dark side. Is when Anakin says is it about saving others from and obviously with Padme. So then he goes, is it possible to learn these powers not from a Jedi?
And I love
That's
how-
when it starts. That's when it
Mhm.
really starts.
I
right
love
there.
when Lucas and his writers actually made sure they included the midi-chlorians. Something as silly as the midi-chlorians, he actually made it work here.
It made it work in this film.
Right, because he says he can influence the midi-chlorians to create life, you know, and that's Anakin's his bell. It's just like he can create life, you know. He's like, yes, but it's just that it's not possible to learn this power from a Jedi, you know.
Yeah.
This is
You
what-
gotta look beyond the
He
Jedi
kind of
way.
wants to sway him in the sense of like, oh, if you kind of
Power.
go this side, maybe you'll learn some stuff.
You'll have
maybe
some
you'll
power.
be able to like, sway yourself to the dark side.
Which is what lords a lot of Jedi.
Sway.
Which is what usually lords a lot of Jedi to the dark side is power.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the main point of
The Sith
the
way.
Sith way is that they want to gain power and all the power that they want. Like they want to be
Yeah.
holy in the sense because it's like, if I want to do this, I have to go to a dark side because they won't give me restrictions.
Yeah.
Jedis give restrictions in that point, and that's why
Both have two. Yeah, they're two. I don't know. Two of them are like. Both of them are finding balance in the Force.
How so?
Sith believe destroy the Jedi and the rule of two, where the Jedi feel get rid of the Sith, but obviously have the will. Honestly, if I were to compare the Jedi and the Sith, it's kind of like the Jedi are kind of like the Green Lantern Corps, and the Sith are like the Red Lantern Corps.
Fair, yeah.
I could see that comparison.
I actually put that comparison before.
The Jedi,
I thought of it.
The Jedis are about like representing kind of like the green and the blue, where it's like the green is the willpower and the blue is the hope, and with the Red Lantern it would be definitely rage. I don't know about maybe fear, probably Yellow Lantern as well, fear.
Yeah,
but it's just honestly you're good bad guys.
The Sith is a mix of Red Lantern and Yellow.
And that's why that was so important with that parallelism that they both said that exact same quote. He's too dangerous to live. That's the moment that he realized that like they're both the same thing, just a different point of view.
Yeah.
And that's why he was like, I'm gonna choose a side that's just gonna save my wife, regardless of either.
And that's when
like
he attacked
disregard the Jedi code, like that's not even a thing to him anymore. Because that was like the only thing he lived by, because that was the only thing he knew. But now it's like, okay, well,
he realized
now
how
that doesn't
flawed it
matter.
was.
Because like you guys are so corrupted.
With that being said, I feel bad because Jonathan had moments where he's like he wants to get him, but Jonathan, you look like you have something to say. So, buddy, what do you have to say?
So with my thoughts so far on like Revenge of the Sith and the positive aspects and everything like that, there is a lot that this movie did right. Obviously, with the development of Anakin's character and how we see him go from "it's not the Jedi way, I can't do this" to essentially to like tossing the Jedi way aside because he kind of sees, wait, I'm the only one following the rules. What is this? So he
really
tosses it aside
really
and
was.
decides to go on his own path, essentially, which is obviously the path that Darth Sidious like caved in for him to follow to becoming Darth Vader. And it's your destiny, Anakin. Ooh. So with that, we kind of see him go against Mace Windu and the Jedi Council and everything they've become. Because we see gradually through the prequels, episodes 1 and 2 included, everybody.
Hey.
So we see them just slowly become more about retaining power and quote-unquote peace in the galaxy, just as a way for them to stay present. And with that being said, if we go to the Sith as well, we see that the Jedi and the Sith, they're about having one or the other in the Force, which doesn't truly create balance.
Nope.
As we can see, it creates more conflict. So in a way, when they said that Anakin was the prophecy and the chosen one, that he bring balance to the Force, he actually did. Because think about it. There were 2 Sith Lords and 2 Jedi that were alive after Order 66. Pretty much Obi-Wan and Yoda,
Are we talking?
Darth Sidious.
I'm sorry. Are we talking canon
Skywalker.
or are we talking about just the?
We're
movie?
talking about the movie.
Okay.
movies,
all
yeah.
right,
Because
all
what
right.
happens is Order 66 kills all the Jedi and everything
Right.
like that, where obviously we only have Obi-Wan and Yoda left, and then we have Sidious and Anakin. So in a way, he did create balance in the Force for a temporary time.
Yeah, he did. And then the Force Awakens came in.
Yeah.
No, 4, 5, and 6, and then Force Awakens.
We'll get into that.
A lot,
We'll get into it,
a lot
yeah.
happened in
And
the
then-
original.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, no, with that being said, I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I didn't like in this film, there was, in my opinion, I really didn't like Padme's role in this. I felt that it was too much of puppy love. It wasn't like there's such a cringy scene where it's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Silly because I'm in love.
Oh, that scene.
No, it's because I'm
they
so
made
in
her
love with you.
character just
But
like,
I
"Hey,
love
I'm
that
barefoot
scene.
and
It was the
pregnant,
best
and I'm gonna
scene in the
stare at
movie.
the outside the window, and it's just like,
All day.
It was the
It's
best
just
scene.
like-
Which scene are you talking about? Because there's actually a really important
just in
scene.
general, she's just like barefoot and pregnant, just staring out the window. It's
In the
like-
apartment.
Are we talking about at night or during the day when there was that scene where Anakin was looking
Yeah,
at?
and then there was the silent scene where they weren't talking.
That's such a powerful
Where they,
scene,
where
though.
they,
Yeah, that
where
was a
they're
good
looking at each other,
scene.
but they're not really looking at each other.
Yeah.
Like one stares out the
Yeah.
window, the other one stares at
And-
the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with that being said, there's such like the Anakin matured a lot. Like when he first saw Padme, and he was just like, of all that happens, he's like, I can go to my wife now, and he hugs her, and then they're like, it's like, fuck this shit. Like it's just I can't anymore, babe. Like, and she's like, oh, it's gonna be great, babe. By the way, I'm pregnant. Like, and he's like,
Okay.
he had so much inside of him that's like mentally, it's like, which is great because he had a great acting point, which is something I'm sure a lot of people don't say about him. But in my opinion, he had a really good moment when he found out that he's pregnant. He was shocked.
He
Oh,
was
yeah.
pregnant?
He was shocked.
No, she. Are your ears?
Are you
A little
okay?
bit.
So when Padme was pregnant, Anakin was like, he was so worried and shocked, but happy at the same time,
Yeah.
which is the normal reaction. He's like, that's wonderful. She's like, what are we going to do? Because as like the woman saying to the man, like stereotypically, but like he goes, we're not going to worry about anything. We're going to figure this out. And this is such a happy moment that we should enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. That's true,
And-
and I think that's a very
And a
grown-up
lot of
decision
people
for him to
said
do.
that his acting was robotic, but I just think that was just kind of his personality.
Yeah.
I don't think he was robotic.
Exactly.
No, he
Thank you.
But a
wasn't.
lot of
Thank
people
you.
say he was. I was like, I don't think so.
I don't
I
agree.
think
I don't agree.
At that moment, or are you saying like in general?
In general, people say his acting is robotic, and I personally don't think so. I just feel
I
like
don't
It depends on the
think so.
movie.
It's just something that
Oh,
red letter media kind of
I think
perpetuated
so.
a little bit.
If we're
Who's
talking,
talking?
if we're talking
Babe
about the
was talking.
second one, yeah.
Wait,
Second
who's
one,
talking
he
back
did have
here?
moments
Yeah.
where, yeah, he had, you can tell that he was
He has his moments.
very robotic and he was very neutral in every situation. But this movie, he progressed and he did have a lot of dialogue and a lot of emotion that, obviously he has a kid on the way. He's very...
Two.
Two kids.
Okay,
Yeah.
he has 2 kids on the way.
But he's got it. Yeah.
But obviously he doesn't know they're twins till then.
Exactly.
Till later on. But
Oh,
my point is like he stepped up as a person,
Yeah.
as a character. He showed that he could do what he needed to do to make sure that his wife was okay.
Yeah.
That's where I got back to the obsession. But in another level, he was very caring, emotional, and he just was a good character, period. Like
He cared.
his progression through the movies, like you saw him as a child, you saw him as
His
Teen-
immature
as a
almost like
teenager.
teen, and then now you see him as
An adult.
an adult, that he's progressing, being in real life situations. Like, oh, okay, I have to provide for my wife, my child, my children, once you obviously get past the movie, whatever. But it just shows how his character development like grows through the movie. Like obviously, during the movie he's swayed during both ways. Oh, do I follow the Jedi way? Oh, do I follow the Sith way? Which obviously he doesn't know that that's the Sith way until later on, but it's just to see the way that he sways into another light of, okay, I want to make sure that my wife stays alive rather than watch her die in the process. Obviously he goes to the way of I want to make sure that she lives.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that she has a very fulfilling life.
And it's not like Anakin doesn't have a bone thrown at him every once in a while,
Mhm.
because remember that sequence that happens after Obi-Wan and Anakin are bickering, right?
Mhm.
And this is a scene that doesn't get brought up that often because people hate the walking and talking thing. I kind of grown to appreciate it a little bit more.
You
It grew on me.
appreciate it through the movies, honestly, you really do. And it's just, yeah, it really does help the movie progress because you do see the conversations that they have that they don't have with other people. It's just between Anakin and
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, and it's a very emotional scene most of the time when they have just them two.
Yeah, and when Obi-Wan's about to head to Utapau to hunt down General Grievous, Anakin's like,
Segue.
I've disappointed you. It's just I've been so frustrated, and Obi-Wan's like, you are strong and wise, Anakin. It won't be long until the council makes you a Jedi Master. And you've become a far greater Jedi than I had ever hoped to be. He's giving him the approval that he so desperately reached for.
That's why their connection is very good.
And that scene, I really like. Going back to you and you tying your 2 points in together, I love his character development. And what they did with the costume, they dressed him in all black. They gave him a scar. They made his hair long and rugged. And I love that they use kind of symbolism, but not with dialogue, but with shading. Because that exact scene that you're talking about, Obi-Wan leaves him walking towards the light, and he's stuck in the shadows. And even when he's talking to Yoda, when he's doing kind of that therapy session, you can see the light going in and out of his eyes every time he talks about like what he's not supposed to talk about. So I love how they use like shadows in like the series to show that like he's in the dark side.
Yeah,
there's a lot
That's
of
very
symbolism
clever.
in these movies where like if you look back at them and you're like, okay, there's specific scenes where you see Anakin swaying towards the light and the dark. It's just by the lighting also.
Yeah.
The good thing about these movies in particular, like the prequels, is that their shots are very like they do have a lot of symbolism. If you look back and you really analyze all of them, they really show Anakin's progression, Obi-Wan's progression, everyone's progression individually. It's not just we're talking about Anakin's progression, but Padme had a progression where she was a child, and then now she's an adult, and now she's having a kid.
Yeah.
And she's just going through the different motions in the different ways where, okay, I need to step up and be an adult because I have a child or children obviously on the way, and I need to tell the person that I'm with. She goes through that, and then obviously when she tells Anakin, he's like, okay, we can figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what are you gonna tell someone who's bearing your child? We're in danger. You got to make sure that they have a clean mindset.
You got to
so they
reassure
can
them.
think rationally.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I think Anakin kind of not panicked, but he had a whole
Anakin.
I think he had a whole realization. He flipped the switch of I need to be responsible. I have not only Padme to think about, but I have to think of my children and child.
And he's so like Hayden Christian. Like I say this again, Hayden. You did a really good job, my man. But like, fuck those haters.
Boy.
You did a really good job. Episode 2, I don't know if it was you or the writing or the direction. It was probably the direction too. But Hayden, you did a much better job in the third one, and I commend you.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I disagree.
Jose, you don't exist.
You about it?
Who is this person?
Oh, this is Jose.
By the way, we're gonna introduce Jose. He's just happened to be, in the podcast once or twice, and
I've been
whatever.
I've been slithering around very
Parasite much?
Yeah.
So let's get into the negatives. So obviously Jose wants to get in on this. So
Negatives.
What negatives?
Oh no, Hayden Christensen. This was the best Hayden Christensen did. It just wasn't great.
I think every other actor normally was better, and then Anakin was bad. But now in this movie, Anakin was good, but all the other ones are bad. Because what made me really mad was when Obi-Wan saw the little hologram of him like killing. He's just like, "Oh no, I can't watch anymore."
Yeah.
And he turns it off, and it's just like, the man you raised into the Jedi Master that he is just slaughtered someone, and you're seeing all this traumatic stuff, and you're just like, "Oh no." Turn it off. It was just such underplay. It was probably the direction and then obviously the dialogue from the directors, but it was just such an underplayed thing. Like you would have thought he would be like that whole scene with Darth Vader. No, you know what I'm saying? Like
that would have been a little too much.
But I'm just saying though, like it should have been like a whole thing where he like literally had to break his because he just saw like his like brother, like commit such a crime and change the force side. Or even when he sees Padme, he's like, oh, he went to the dark side, and she's just like, no, he didn't. like, if that was my husband, he went to the dark side, I'd be crying, freaking out. Damn, this is my baby daddy. He has to take care of me. Now he's on the dark side.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'd be freaking
I
the
mean,
F out.
She
Like,
does
and
kind
but
of
she
flip
doesn't,
out.
like,
Yeah, she.
You're
Yeah.
breaking my heart.
but, like, she,
Okay, we'll
I
get to
just-
that
I
one.
feel
We'll
like
get to.
the
I have
acting-
more than a few things to say about that one.
I feel like the acting, maybe not the actor's fault, but just direction. I just feel like all the emotions throughout was so
Yeah.
underplayed. Like everything that happened, they were just so chill about it. I'm just like, how are you guys so chill?
I mean, not Yoda though.
No.
Definitely Obi-Wan, but Yoda,
Nah, man.
he was definitely like, he could understand. I think eternally he was just like, Yoda was like, how could we not have seen this coming? We have been so blinded by this.
Yeah,
and
he was the one who realized it
and
at
he-
the end.
right. And then Obi-Wan's like, okay, like I do agree. Like Obi-Wan, I felt like if that was like, I never had a brother, but if someone or
Yeah.
in that regard, someone doing this, I would just break down because it's like, how do I process this? And Yoda is just like,
Search your feelings, Obi-Wan. And
That's-
find him you must.
right. And he's just, even though, like, it's just, and the thing I like is that Obi-Wan still has much to learn. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's a definitive flawed master. You know, he's not the best sword wise. He's not the best tactician wise. He's a
He
wise
is
sage throughout the years. You know, you see
He
that
grew wiser.
his greatest asset is his defense and passiveness and guidance.
Yeah.
You know, that's his strength.
And it's not so much to like how you fight, it's the way you fight, because he knows that in the big fighting scene at the end, he knows like Anakin's stronger, but so he's just on defense the whole time
Yeah.
and tiring him out, and then he uses like his height to his advantage.
The
He's
high
like,
ground.
I have the higher ground.
I
And
have the
that
higher
scene, though,
ground.
was to me the best acting though. Is you are my brother.
Oh yeah,
That
where
was
Obi-Wan
Yeah,
breaks
100%.
down in that hill,
Yeah.
I felt
That
every
was very
single
emotional.
minute of that.
I think
loved
we all
you.
I almost lost it though. Like
Yeah.
I had a lot. There was a lot of emotion built up on there. Hayden Christensen almost ruined it for me. Like it was close when he was like,
How?
when he was like,
I hate you!
No, not even that. It was like you underestimate my power. Like, shut up.
Like, when he's
shut up,
But
man.
when he wasn't speaking and when he was just using his eyes to communicate, it's
Yeah,
just, he
alright, I
was
give you that.
menacing. Look, like you
That-
saw the
I'm not
iris
gonna
of his
lie,
eyes.
the emotion. The
Yeah.
emotion.
There was,
Huge.
no, like they did a good job building up, but there were moments where
The dialogue.
where I'm sorry, man. I don't think Hayden Christensen did a good job in this movie.
Yeah, no
I
worries.
think he
man,
did
yeah.
a better job in this movie than in Attack of the Clones. I just don't think he was.
The most hilarious piece of dialogue coming from him is, "You turned her against me."
Oh,
you know, it's just like,
Yeah.
I was like, just
We will
start-
talk about that.
I was like, just start fighting, please, before I lose like everything.
Lose all my
And-
brain cells.
So with that being said,
And now I
do
retreat.
you guys, okay, I guess he's gonna, I was gonna want to talk to him more, but I guess he's go back down.
What you want?
What you talk to me. With that being said, so yeah, what other things do you feel like, even in the last scene, because so much, excuse me, it happened in the last scene. Like, I kind of want to hear from you three because I haven't heard from you guys in a while. So what do you guys feel about the last scene?
So with now coming up to the final scene on Mustafar, where we obviously had the great impression of Anakin of "You turned her against me" from my man Andres over here, and then Obi-Wan just saying, "You have done that yourself," and then how Anakin goes into his even further emo phase about how it's like, I've brought justice, security, freedom to my new empire. I know I messed up that line.
I really wanted. I was like, shut up. Like, stop talking.
Killed a bunch of kids. How
Like,
did
he was already doing so well with his face.
You have no empire yet.
Just,
Yeah, like when this yellow eyes just going to Mustafar, it's like, well, this guy's actually like,
this is Darth Vader. This is menacing.
this is the first like good Venom no,
But then Anakin talked and ruined it all.
yeah, it's like what was that meme that said like, you know, oh, when Bae looks cute and then he speaks, it's like he's just like, that's what Anakin is. It's just
It's not like
like
he hit puberty as of recent.
he's still a hit puberty. No,
I secure peace. Freedom to my new empire. You know, Obi-Wan's looking at him like a freaking lunatic. Like, your
New empire.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when Thick Boy, when Thick Boy got into that dock, there was just this like, let her go, and like it was just like he was like holding her like, whoa, like when he killed her. And Padme. I think what's her name?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman. I think that she did the best she could. The
That script-
dialogue sucked. in
That
scene.
script was horrible.
Yeah.
It was a giant pile of poop.
It's
Like,
like-
no shit, he's breaking
Come
your
home
heart.
with me. And we'll take. I'm like, he
killed
started a genocide.
Died.
Like, well, forget that. We'll raise the kids,
Yeah.
everything. He's not like Stalin who can get away with it. Like this is like something. This is something
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
Breathe.
I mean, he could,
She
he
was
could be
crazy and
redeemed, but it's
pregnant,
gonna take
though.
a long time.
She was
Mhm.
crazy and pregnant.
Pregnant though. She was pregnant. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
pregnant woman be crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
So
Braggers.
That is true.
How dare you? Anyway.
she's
How
also
dare you.
probably in denial too, because it's like, oh damn, the father of my children aren't gonna be
He's a
there. Like,
psychopath?
you know, like
The father of my children
probably
just
in
murdered
denial.
like thousands of people.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And all the younglings in the
Plot twist.
temple.
He killed all the younglings.
Yeah, did he like laugh? All
he was laughing, so he like covered it. It's like, and that's the shot that they have in the movie. It's like, wow, I'm so sorry.
So it was so funny.
But Obi-Wan says something that it goes against the original trilogy. It's like only a Sith deals in absolutes. I'm just like, wait. If a Sith deals in absolutes, let's jump back to Empire Strikes Back.
that
for a
was the
second.
great
Yeah.
grand irony of it, because he says that and then he pulls out his sword.
Yeah.
Well, it's not sword, sorry, lightsaber.
Like he pulls out the lightsaber. It's like, and I'm asking Obi-Wan here.
Sword.
Shouldn't you be saving him? Shouldn't you be like talking him down? But no, you gotta draw your
Saber.
lightsaber. You pick the fight. Anakin was just doing his emo rant, but he wasn't looking like for a fight or anything.
Yeah, he was.
I mean,
He literally
Yeah.
like. What do you mean? He
I
wasn't
mean-
looking for a fight.
Man said, you here with my wife, the mother of my children. I'm like, damn, Anakin, you're going crazy.
But I feel like Obi-Wan could have done better to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
Anakin down. You know, it's like face up to what you've done. Please come back to us.
I'll do what I must.
You will
I mean,
try.
He's doing better than the career counselors that we got at freaking Somerset. So what do you mean?
Oh, you call
What's Somerset?
I will admit though.
What's Somerset? We're in Star Wars.
Oh, you mean Sunset?
Sunset,
So,
yes.
with the sunset
The double
onwards
sunsets.
on Mustafar, I felt that it was just the escalation of that scene was really. I don't know where I was going with this, but
When you were there.
back to the script was. There were certain scenes where the script was great. The dialogue, okay, I think the writing of was good, just not the dialogue in that scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can, yeah,
No, 'cause, like,
I agree.
I
I agree.
Because a lot of people like to say, oh, this actor is just horrible, you know. But there's a lot of things that go into it. It's the director as well, and how good the director is at like saying, okay, can you give me like a little bit more on that, please, or you know, and then the script, because there are good actors out there, but not every actor is so good that they can turn really bad dialogue into like something insane.
Exactly.
Joker. Yeah. So no, because like
Joker has some bad lines.
we live in a society.
He sounds like Anthony Fantano.
Now that's a credit to how good of an
Is he
actor.
music nerd?
That's a credit to how good of an actor Joaquin Phoenix is, that he was able to take those lines and.
We live in a society, but he says more than we live in society.
I know, but like there are parts of this. I've read the script. There are parts of the speech that are like really like, and like people are a little bit like,
Suicide Squad.
yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
Actually.
All right, but
Oh, yeah.
comparing Suicide Squad to Joker is comparing
Anyway,
like
back to
Look, we're on
Oh,
Mustafar.
we
jumped
episode
right into the
3.
DC
Come back to
territory.
With-
Mustafar.
Look,
Oh, sorry.
buddy, we're with
Come
Big
back,
Boy
to,
Kenobi,
come back to the
Emo
lava
Boy
planet.
Anakin.
Come back.
I said one reference. Elliot goes, let's go to this reference.
Or you know what I think is funny? That she was like she just gave birth in this movie,
Padme.
so she was she's definitely 9 months pregnant, but she didn't look pregnant at all.
I saw that baby.
But
bump.
not at all. though.
No, she had no bump.
She had no bump at
She
all.
had
Had
no
a
bump in the
balloon.
movie.
She looked thicker than 3PO.
She didn't look pregnant at all.
Oh my god.
That gold thickness, man.
Wait,
Okay. Anyway,
wait, is C-3PO a new thing now with
No,
the
no, no, no,
thickness?
no, no,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
a-
Back
No,
to
it's
the
not.
last part.
Anyway, but
But can
they-
we also
but I,
mentioning off of not Padme, Amy.
Yeah.
Notice how like that's funny because the only time like the baby bump was probably like the last scene, and I understand when she's dead and she's delivered. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the truth. When she's in the boat,
take two.
Abdu?
Abu, no, Naboo. Pinocchio. Not gonna finish this podcast episode. Back when Padme was like, when she was dead, why does she still have that baby bump?
Well, I mean,
She's
you're still
work.
well, you're still
pregnant,
you still
yeah.
chunky because you're supposed to gain a healthy 20 pounds when you're pregnant, and then if
Yeah,
you're
getting
like
pregnant
overly
just
eat,
does
then you would gain 40 pounds or so. So on average, most women gain like 30. So she is supposed to be still fat, but it's just funny that she's not fat. And then in that scene, like you could see a bump, but it's like, but she just gave birth.
I mean, when she
I
was
don't know.
giving birth, I couldn't even tell whether it was fat or thin because there was a huge like cover of a mattress coming in. and then Luke and Leia coming
I
out.
love and hate the ending at the same time.
Okay.
The whole ending.
Thank you for actually talking. Like, we should get back on topic.
Yeah.
But
It's not even on camera, so.
Well, you know what, Gabby? Maybe if I want, I can get right here.
I mean, that does work better for
Leave
me.
the anchor for the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
a freaking
when
travesty.
that's when the mitts are probably gonna be coming.
Please wait.
Last
I-
Jedi is gonna be interesting.
I like
Oh, that
the,
movie.
Yeah, I get to tell
In
you
the
why I don't like
ending-
it.
in the ending when the twins are born at the same time as like Anakin dies and Darth Vader like comes alive, it kind of symbolizes the parallelism that they kind of have the same birthday. I
Yeah,
like
that's
that
true.
Yeah,
because they both are. One's being born and he's
That-
being created.
that was good.
That was awesome.
Now the part where first for me, the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin, there were some good parts. I just felt that the fight went on way too
They
long.
look like frogs.
I felt like it could have ended a lot sooner. I felt like I didn't like the part where they're like scaling the big tower and they're like
That to me was the climax.
I didn't like I felt like that could have been taken out and then you could have just done the whole part on the river
I feel
river
like-
of lava.
I feel like they were
But-
trying to incorporate other things, not like, oh, we're just not fighting. Oh, now there's fire. Oh, now there's this. There's all these challenges.
There was
They
a lot of
wanted to
spectacle.
create, they wanted to create like a
And
grand fight.
if you wanted him, if you were looking for spectacle in that fight, oh, that fight has a lot of it. Like there's so
Yeah.
many parts where it's like, wow, damn.
But also at the time, this is when we thought this is the last Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Lucas said no episode 7 after this.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
Now we're up to 9.
Now we're up
Yay.
to 9.
Yes, can't wait. Anyway,
Anti-hype. Yeah.
I'm with the hype. Anyway,
I'll watch it with you.
Did you say?
Yes.
I'll go see it with y'all.
I'm gonna like it. I know it. I'm just gonna come
out,
out and
but
be
I'll
like,
still watch
"Yay."
it.
They would have to do something so stupid for me to come out of
Last
the theater
Jedi.
like, I like that movie, so calm down.
Okay, that has nothing to do with what he's saying. That's
Anyway.
just, I agree with you, but
Back
Anyway,
to the
back to
fighting
what I was
scene.
saying.
Fighting
Back to,
scene.
back to the battle. You said that it ran too long.
Their fight ran too long for me. I feel like there are sections that didn't need to be there. Like I said, like one of them was like when they're like
Tower,
scaling that tower and they're like flailing their swords around. I felt like no, you don't need that. It's like for me it was like too many moments of like spectacle over just like actual intense fighting because they had moments where they were like close to each other and they were like, I love the part because no other for some reason Star Wars thing has done this other than Clone Wars, where they both go to force push
Yeah.
each other and then it's like, I was like, yes, that's what I need. And I hate that in a lot of Star Wars movies, they don't use the Force that much.
That's true.
And I'm like, you have the Force. Why are you not using it? So episode 3 did give me a lot of that, like, oh, look at that. They're using the Force. Oh my God, what a concept.
That's also part of the reason why I love the Grievous and Obi-Wan fight so much because it proves that Grievous, although he has many lightsabers and he's really fast, it shows how out of his depth he is when he's fighting Obi-Wan.
That's true. That's true. But like for me, before Clone Wars, Grievous was a stupid character for me. Before Clone Wars, because it was like, okay, cool, it's this giant like mech droid who's like really good with lightsabers, and then he dies. And I'm like, cool, no character development. He just dies. But then Clone Wars happened. I'm like, now I get it.
Yeah. Then he uses Obi-Wan to be like, hello, good.
Yeah, exactly. But what I really did like from the finale was Yoda versus Palpatine.
That
Yes.
was awesome. That was
I
freaking
enjoyed that so much. I enjoyed the dynamics between both of them because Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, that's a callback to episode 4 and like this is the first time they actually fought, so obviously when you see episode 4 it's like no, but like Yoda versus Palpatine was what I really wanted to see because that's light versus dark. That's the Grand Master of the Jedi versus the lead dark guy. And it shows that fight was so cool because you saw just how good with a lightsaber Yoda was. And you saw that Palpatine, even though Palpatine is supposed to be really good with lightsabers, he can't compete sword-wise with Yoda. So he's always retreating. And he's always using the Force. He's always trying to get Yoda by using the Force, and he's always retreating, but Yoda's always trying to get right back at him. And I love the part with the lightning and Yoda pushes his back. I was like, yo, that's so cool. And then he's like, oh wait, what? Oh, that was so awesome.
And his crazy laugh really added the touch to it. Like, I don't know if it was improvised, if he was told to do it, but that creeped me out.
He was having a ball with it. He said, "Run wild."
I can't wait to see what he does in Rise of Skywalker. I can't wait to see. When I hear that laugh in Rise of Skywalker, I will laugh with him. I will be like, ha ha ha. I will be in that theater.
Just hope it's not a Joker laugh, but yeah, no, I agree. Especially when Yoda came in and they were like, "We better get this little."
Yeah, he's just like, oh shit.
But me, this is one of my top 3 favorite scenes in Star Wars. Period. Like, regardless of where you're coming from, it's when Obi-Wan manages to slice down Anakin, right? Because his overconfidence and his jealousy.
That's a plot hole in some regard.
In some regard.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, like not to shit on you or anything.
Yeah.
But he was like, I have the high ground, Anakin. It's over. It's like, dude, Jedis have been jumping 5 stories in this trilogy. What do you mean you have the high ground?
It's because he was trying to do the move that. This is what I'm thinking. Is that he's trying to do that move that Obi-Wan did against Darth Maul. It's just like, okay, if he can do it, old ass, I can do it.
Old ass.
Little did he know that old ass did like some kind of weird maneuver that caused him to win the battle. But when he's sliding down, to this day, I still have tears in my eyes when I see that scene. When he's burning down, I'm just like,
I hate you.
Anakin.
And then, why didn't he just leave him there? Why did he just leave him there?
Well, he was far gone. I mean, if I were Obi-Wan, I'd be like, yeah, I love you to death, man, but I'm afraid you might kill me.
So then why wouldn't you finish
maybe
it?
he feels he doesn't want to kill him, so he'll let the fire do it for him.
Yeah, because
True.
Jedi's at the their whole philosophy broke down at that moment, but Obi-Wan knew better. He's one of the more centered.
I gotta give it to Ewan McGregor. He saved that scene.
He
saved it. You are my brother, Anakin. I was like, okay, now I'm feeling it.
I had genuine tears in my eyes.
There's like we said earlier, like when Anakin Hayden or Christian Haydenson, as we said.
Christian Haydenson.
We are John on PS4 chatting. Yeah, can't wait to talk about Christian Haydenson. I mean Hayden Christensen. Bye, buddy. Then
so funny.
keep going. Okay. So what was I talking about? Okay, so then with that being said, so damn it, I broke my concentration.
Hayden Christensen.
Christian Haydenson. That's right.
Christian Haydenson.
So when
There's a difference.
Okay. So this is I think the last thing I'll say. So when Thick Boy has the high ground, he's like, he was like really getting emotional. And I think that's something that I'm not gonna lie, I do get a little teary when he's just like, since Qui-Gon I've taken care of you, and now you're just a bitch. Like you ruined everything for yourself. You're just a bitch who's like an amputee. You're a bitch ass amputee now. Like you just got your arm that it's the truth.
You got a baby mama.
Yeah, bro, he had everything and he ruined it. I mean, I understand Anakin's defense, but I mean, he is not
every New Yorker.
Tread carefully, tread lightly. Anyway, so before we get into a fight, so there's something with Ian McGregor, and he's like, I loved you as a brother, Anakin. And then there's he's like,
you are my brother, Anakin.
Like, I loved you. And he's looking into it, and Anakin's like, I hate you. And I go, all right.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen brought me out of a lot. And no offense to Hayden Christensen, I'm pretty sure he's a great actor. But I don't know if it was the dialogue, but there were moments where where Ewan was killing it. He was like, yes, the acting, and I'm into it. And then he's like, you underestimate. I'm like, no, stop. Sorry, stop.
It was that intense of a scene.
I was like, stop.
What?
You stop talking.
What I like to believe is that he was just overmaxed by the dark force that he wasn't really all there. So that's just the craziness of him. He's just crazy.
Yeah,
He's not
he-
himself.
he just-
That's what I like to
his
think.
ego
That's
just got
why
the better of
the
it.
bad acting was just him being a zombie under the dark force, taking control of him. Dark side. Dark force, dark
I'm
side.
looking at this husk of what used to be Anakin, and I'm saying, dude,
You're good.
I liked you, but you gotta face up to what you've done, man. I mean, you deserve this shit, dude.
So I think it's kind of we best wrap it up. So I think we're gonna just quickly tell everybody like what their rankings are in the Star Wars first. So we'll start with we'll just start it off. All right. So Brandon, would like he's not here. So Andres, would you like to start off this
We
review?
laugh about it and send it in the
Yes.
group chat.
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10 because it's certainly a huge step up from what I've seen with Attack of the Clones. Remember, I gave it a 5.5 out of 5. But this one was such a huge step up. Less Viceroy Gunray, safe, something like that, you know? Less of that.
Say it again?
Safe!
I don't safe.
Remember when General Grievous was assuring them that, hey, let's send you to the Mustafar system? And he's like, oh, Chancellor Palpatine would not get us to over there. He would not make a decision this stupid. And then he's like, be thankful, Viceroy, that I don't have your head on my plate, you know? Giving him like a good threat because Viceroy was pointless. Pointless in the third one.
Yeah, without the Clone Wars, it's
Yeah,
like whatever.
But 8 out of 10, mostly because of the dynamic between Anakin and Obi-Wan that was established. I love the flow of scenes that run together. I don't like the dialogue that much. I think it's kind of crappy. I love the slow seduction of Darth Sidious towards Anakin, probing him, like saying, "Hey, dark side," and then he's saying, "Bitch, I'm Sidious." And then he realizes this, right? He says, "I'm gonna turn you over to the Jedi Council." I'm just like, "Oh, you've come so far, my boy." He tells Mace Windu. Mace Windu goes in, starts fighting, gets the better of him. Anakin's like, "Can't do this shit. Let's do it," you know. So, and then he ends up betraying the Jedi Order, and I like that. I like that collection of scenes. I do love, and it fits a lot. There's a lot more scenes in this movie that I love rather than I hate. So, final verdict: 8 out of 10.
That was like Revenge of the Sith in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Except no cinema sins.
That's true. That's true.
Palpatine is not Palpatine. Ding.
Oh shit. So 8 out of 10. I think I have to say 8 out of 10 as well. I think that it's, for me, outside the original trilogy, this is my next favorite. I would actually say I love this film, albeit this is the first Star Wars film I ever saw in the theater. So definitely nostalgic factor is a factor into this. But no, this is me, just personal. But I really loved it a lot. I really enjoyed Lego Star Wars. This is part of the reason why I liked it. I also liked the Episode 3 video game. By the way, I played that recently. Hayden Christensen did a terrible job at voice acting in that one, as always. We should just do an episode just go, all right, before people log off. I don't know if there's like 3 people, like, it's just like probably me and Andres listening to this in the future.
Canadians listening?
Hey, I listen to
Oh,
this.
we have a Saudi Arabia viewer now. I just checked. Like, the other day.
Hello. Hi. I don't know how
I'm
to
so
say
confused.
that.
We have a Saudi Arabian
Viewer.
Sorry, I know I fucked that up. I'm sorry, but yeah.
We even have viewers from freaking Jupiter.
Yeah.
Really?
For real.
Champoka chanteha. Hanjupi taketa.
My mother was a saint in those.
Poodle.
No, but to
But nobody's gonna ask how I know how to speak Jupiter.
that's different.
No, it's just a normal occurrence.
What did you watch? Jupiter Ascending, that terrible film?
We don't talk about that. Anyway.
I want it chanting all over his tail.
All right, what's your rating, Elliot son?
Elliot, what was it? I'm
We
sorry.
lost Elliot down. Guardian down.
You just imagine you'd be like, I want to chanting all over his All right, while he's losing his shit, Gaby.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish my rating because I'm gonna start and finish because crying Ginger is over there.
Gingy.
So
He's making
Personally-
ginger ale.
personally, I think this film was also pretty great. I mean, I'm not going to give it as high rating as they are because they're very polite. I would honestly, I gave the last movie a 5, right?
You told me the last one you gave a 3.
Wow, I was mean.
Yeah, you were pretty.
No. Attack of the Clones is just shitty.
But yeah, no, but I was right.
The worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you.
In the whole series.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
This is the better movie in the series in a sense, but
In the trilogy, you mean?
yeah.
In the prequel trilogy?
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Much appreciated. Children.
Yes, Mama.
Channing on my Tatum.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was saying,
What's your final thoughts?
you're a moron.
That's the final. I'm sorry. I didn't kick. I don't like kick. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm honestly gonna give it a 5.
Why is it a 5? Why is it a 5?
Say your piece.
No, I was about to, but then
But-
he was chanting his Tatum, and then I started laughing
Okay.
at that.
I give it a 5 because I know Ellie's gonna want to finish this thing. I'll finish mine later or one
Okay.
day, hopefully.
8 out of 10 for me. I don't know when we're gonna finish this podcast, but pretty much is that I really enjoyed. I love the new location scenes. Hello.
I need you to get.
I finished. I enjoyed a lot of aspects of this film, including Kashyyyk, which I thought was very interesting. I felt that the worlds did a lot better. Like since we're wrapping up the prequels, I think that the prequels did a great job, maybe a little bit of a better job by adding, more worlds into this. I definitely felt that was very
Agreed.
from Naboo, Kamino, Kashyyyk, Tatooine, or more into Tatooine. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, and I think I said on my piece, but no, there were definitely some negatives in this film. Definitely some negatives. With Christian Haydenson, with his
I thought it was Hayden Christensen.
damn it, John. Yeah, so 8 out of 10. You know why? So we have the 5 out of 10 for some reason over here.
Okay, the reason why I give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, I appreciate the score for all of the entire trilogy. Great score. But obviously I can't excuse Hayden Christensen's.
Oh, that's
That's his real name?
His actual name is Hayden Christensen.
I thought it was Christian Hayden's.
Who the hell said it? Elliot.
That was Jonny Boi.
Not my point. But the point is, I can't excuse his. Again, people say his acting, but it's. I just don't like him as an actor. Sorry, no offense.
As an actress, maybe too.
Actor, drink your water. Don't choke on it. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think it was a decent movie. I wouldn't see it again, but it's a decent movie.
Cool. I'm seeing it again tonight.
Yeah.
Jonny Boi.
All right, so for my score, it is going to be higher than my usual scores. I'm going to give this movie, because of the nostalgia and everything about this movie, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
9.
This was a movie that when I was younger, I went to go see it in the theaters with my parents and my sister. I was in the Darth Vader costume. It was epic. I was having lightsaber fights with kids in the crowd. It was epic. And it was a really fun time just going to the theater. And it was opening night when like all the news crews were there and everything. Like over at the Cinemark, it was pretty big.
The media was busting wide open for this movie, right?
Yeah, they honestly were. Surprisingly.
Making sure
Yeah.
we're pulling
So
out
9?
the expectations.
They were stroking their geniuses all along.
Yeah, exactly.
George Lucas is genius.
That's right.
All right.
Make sure to
So-
pull out their expectations. But
So yeah.
Oh,
Back to what I was saying, guys. So pretty much for like episode 3, it did a lot wrong, but it also got a lot right. It showed us the transition of Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader pretty well. Even though it was a lot of emo scenes, and every time Christian Haydenson spoke,
Hayden Christensen.
it was like ruining the entire immersion of the movie. When he was quiet and he was just told to say nothing, he was one of the most menacing looking villains
Yeah, I agree.
in the
Menacing.
Star Wars saga.
The most
Ne-
I really felt the chills of young Darth Vader, like pre-suit or pre-samurai armor, rather. Like just really just settle in, and it was amazing. And of course, the acting from everyone else in the movie was pretty good as well. Obi-Wan really brought. What was his name again? The actor.
Big boy.
Ewan.
Oh, I mean,
Ewan. Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
You won.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got that.
Obi-Wan.
I wanted to make sure I got that name right at least. But
Obi-Wan. I'm sorry.
every time he spoke in the movie, he had something clever to say, something good to say. He really made the scenes feel powerful. And that's something that I really admired about his acting in the movie. And my final point is the score. John Williams makes every movie that John Williams does, Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, Star Wars. He takes the
Harry
movie
Potter.
from like here and puts it up there.
Especially when Battle of
Or
the
like
Worlds
up there
comes in.
rather. Sorry.
Oh,
That-
yeah,
that-
this
yeah, up there.
this movie had some of the best tracks in the entire saga.
Yeah.
Anakin's betrayal,
Battle of
the
the Heroes.
Battle of Heroes, even the opening crawl,
Yeah.
into the first into the big space battle in the beginning.
It felt galactic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bum bum ba-da-da-da-da-ding, dang. Yeah, I was like, damn.
So 9 out of 10.
So yeah, 9 out of
9 out
10.
of 10.
That's my final verdict.
Amy.
Amy.
Okay,
Also
I'm
known as
gonna do
Rose.
the famous number so far, 8. But I really appreciate how in episode 3 they really, to me, got a very complex storyline that they kind of missed in the first and second one. And Anakin was just kind of like a puppet while the real villains of the story were behind the scenes, but you wouldn't know unless you were paying really attention and actually getting involved in the story. And I like the parallelism when his when his kids are born, so is Darth Vader. And interesting theory that I like to follow is that Padme didn't just die from childbirth. What she actually died from was, so a lot of people believe the dark side isn't just the dark side of the Force. They actually do like some form of like dark magic with it. And when Sidious said, quote, when within your anger she died, I think it meant when he chose to join the dark side, he was going to rebuild him as Darth Vader using the sacrifice of Padme's life, which is a very famous theory, which I agree with. And just looking in the depths of like that, the complexity behind the scenes, Anakin was just a victim, and like Sidious was like the real villain, and like I like all of that, like the behind the scenes like in-depthness. And I feel like they really captured that, which is why I like it and I give it an 8, but I don't want to give it a 10 because they didn't execute it enough with the directing and making it come across well with the actors. Not blaming the actors, but blaming like them as a whole did not execute it well.
As always, Ahmed Best, you and your 1 second Jar Jar cameo, I don't blame you for that. That's fine. That's fine.
Jose.
Hey, people.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's the best prequel movie by far. Massive improvements to the special effects. They look more realistic. The space in this movie looks so much better. This is also because like I've seen Clone Wars, so I understand a lot of going into episode 3. If I hadn't seen Clone Wars, I think my score would be a lot lower because I have problems with Grievous. I have problems with a lot of different things, but that's fine. I'm not really caring about that. Again, John Williams makes a lot of this movie so much better. Just that score is so like I felt the emotional strings in Anakin's betrayal. I felt that. What?
Nothing. Go.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
And Yoda was a badass. Palpatine was a badass. Even though Palpatine versus Mace Windu was one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen.
I'm glad someone else appreciates the fact that it was so bad.
You have to admit, come on. The 3 Jedi. I love Kid Fisto, but the way he died like a bitch.
It was
The first 2 Jedis died like a bitch.
Yeah.
It was no. I'm talking like technically. Like there was so much cutting. You could tell that. I'm pretty sure it was Ian McDiarmid.
Yeah.
He did not know how to wield a lightsaber, so they had to hide that using the editing, and it's bad.
They should have done what they did already when Count Dooku was fighting. That wasn't the Count Dooku. They got like a stunt double for that, and they CGI'd his head. They should have probably just done that.
The thing about that though is that that works well when when the shots are from far away. But if you're gonna do close-ups and you're gonna do that, that's gonna be really bad looking, especially in the time. That would not have looked very well. You would have been able to tell. It's like, ooh, that's not Ian McDiarmid. That's somebody with a CGI face. But yeah, other than that, I like this movie. I like this movie. I can watch it a bunch of times and I buy it. I just have my problems with it. But yeah, 6 out of 10.
So I think that wraps up about it. Thank you for listening as always, or if you're watching out there, thank you so much. Announcements. We are on Twitter now.
Yeah.
So be sure to follow us
Ooh.
on there. Thank you for the 2 people who are still watching this at the very end. So I think. Are you done? Okay.
Bird ass.
So does
Bird
anybody,
brain.
as always, we just want to say thank you so much. And does anybody else have anything
Pea-brain.
they want to say? We're done.
That's it.
Yeah, Jose.
So I'm gonna end it. I was gonna be nice. We're done. So thank you very much as always, and bye everybody.
Bye.
Oh, be sure for our episode 4 edition of A New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah,
just
Episode 4 edition of a